Imagine a world without poverty, a world without hunger, a world where everyone has access to clean water, education, and healthcare. This is the utopian vision painted by the United Nations Agenda 2030, a seemingly noble plan to transform our planet by the year 2030. Signed by 193 countries, Agenda 2030 outlines 17 sustainable development goals that promise a brighter future for all. From ending extreme poverty to combating climate change, the SDGs address the most pressing challenges facing humanity. Who could argue with such ambitious goals? On the surface, Agenda 2030 appears to be a roadmap to a more equitable and sustainable world. But beneath the veneer of progress and global unity lies a darker reality, one that threatens our individual liberties and freedoms. A closer look at the SDGs reveals a disturbing trend, an increasing reliance on digital technologies and data collection. This digital revolution, while touted as a tool for progress, has the potential to usher in an era of unprecedented surveillance and control. What if these seemingly benign goals were not just about improving our lives, but about controlling them? What if the price of this so-called utopia is our freedom? Let's pull back the curtain and examine the digital scaffolding upon which Agenda 2030 is built. Take, for example, SDG 1, end poverty in all its forms everywhere, a laudable goal to be sure, but how does the UN propose to achieve this? One key strategy involves providing digital financial services to the world's poorest citizens. This sounds reasonable, until you realize that it necessitates the creation of digital identities for billions of people, many of whom live in countries with limited digital infrastructure. Or consider SDG 11, make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This goal has become synonymous with the development of smart cities, urban environments saturated with sensors, cameras, and data-collecting devices. While proponents tout the efficiency and convenience of these interconnected cities, the implications for privacy are chilling. These are just two examples of how the SDGs, while seemingly disparate, are interwoven with digital technology. This reliance on digital infrastructure is not accidental. It is a deliberate strategy to create a world where every transaction, every interaction, and every movement can be tracked, analyzed, and ultimately controlled. This brings us to the crux of the matter. The tools being implemented under the banner of Agenda 2030 are not merely instruments of progress, but instruments of control. One of the most concerning aspects of Agenda 2030 is the push for universal digital identification. Digital IDs are being touted as a solution for everything from financial inclusion to healthcare access. However, these digital keys to society come at a steep price. Our privacy. Imagine a world where your ability to open a bank account, access healthcare, or even travel is contingent upon having a digital ID. This ID linked to your personal data would create a comprehensive profile that could be used to track your every move, both online and offline. In such a world, dissent becomes difficult, if not impossible. Those who challenge the status quo could be easily identified and silenced, their digital access revoked. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is the logical endpoint of a system that centralizes power and control in the hands of a select few. The promise of convenience and efficiency often masks the true cost of these technologies, our freedom. Section 4, a cashless world. CBDCs and the end of financial freedom. Another key component of Agenda 2030 is the push for central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Unlike cryptocurrencies, which are decentralized, CBDCs are digital versions of fiat currency issued and controlled by central banks. Proponents argue that CBDCs will increase financial inclusion and reduce crime. However, this control comes at a cost. In a world where all transactions are digital and controlled by central banks, your financial autonomy evaporates. Imagine a scenario where the government, at its discretion, could freeze your assets, block transactions, or even dictate how you spend your money. This may sound far-fetched, but the technology for such control already exists. With CBDCs, every purchase you make, every donation you give, and every penny you save could be monitored and controlled by those in power. The allure of a cashless society, while seemingly convenient, paves the path for a future where financial freedom is but a distant memory. Section 5. Living under the microscope, smart cities and constant surveillance. The concept of smart cities has become synonymous with progress and sustainability. However, this vision of the future comes with a dark side: constant surveillance. Imagine living in a city where every street corner is adorned with cameras equipped with facial recognition technology. Your movements are tracked, your conversations monitored, and your daily routines analyzed. This is not science fiction, it's the reality of many smart cities being developed around the world. While proponents argue that this technology is necessary to combat crime and improve efficiency, the implications for privacy are deeply troubling. In a world where our every move is tracked and analyzed, the very notion of individual freedom is under threat. The convenience of smart cities masks a chilling truth. We are being sold a future where our lives are lived under a digital microscope. Section 6. The Green Curtain: Climate Change as a Tool for Control. Climate change is a very real and pressing issue. However, it is also being used as a justification for increased surveillance and control. Under the guise of saving the planet, governments and corporations are implementing policies that erode our freedoms. Consider the push for carbon footprint tracking. While presented as a way to encourage sustainable behavior, this technology could easily be used to restrict our movements, limit our consumption, and punish those deemed to have exceeded their allotted carbon allowance. Furthermore, climate change policies are being used to justify the expansion of smart grids and other infrastructure that increase our reliance on digital technologies. These interconnected systems, while touted as essential for a sustainable future, also create vulnerabilities that could be exploited by those seeking to control the flow of energy and information. The climate crisis is real, but it is being exploited to advance a digital agenda that threatens our liberties. Section 7. Awakening to the truth. Knowledge is power. Resistance is key. The dystopian future I've outlined is not inevitable. However, if we remain passive and unquestioning, we risk sleepwalking into a world where our every move is monitored and controlled. The first step towards resisting this digital coup is awareness. We must educate ourselves and others about the true nature of Agenda 2030 and the technologies being implemented in its name. We must question the motives of those who claim to be acting in our best interest while simultaneously eroding our freedoms. Resistance can take many forms, from supporting organizations that fight for digital rights to demanding transparency and accountability from our elected officials. We can choose to opt out of systems that require us to surrender our privacy. We can support the development of decentralized technologies that empower individuals rather than control them. The future is not yet written. The choices we make today will determine whether we create a world where technology serves humanity or one where humanity serves technology. The time to choose is now.